Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. Consider the following pairs. We have tribe on one side, the state they belong to on the other side. Chenchus, Telangana, Kattupaniya, Tamil Nadu, Sherdukpen, Himachal Pradesh. Which of the above pairs are correctly matched? The answer to this is one only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of Kattupaniya. Let us try and understand what are these options. When it comes to the first option, we have Chenchus. They belong to the state of Telangana. This is the right match. Why? Because Chenchus not only belong to the state of Telangana, they are also given a designated scheduled tribe status even in the state of Andhra Pradesh as well. So remember, they are a scheduled tribe in the state of Telangana, scheduled tribe in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and there are other states as well. Which are these states? Put it on the comment section. Added to this, the Chenchus speak a language called as the Chenchu language. This is a member of the Dravidian language family. Then we have the Kattupaniya tribe. They do not belong to Tamil Nadu, but instead they are in the state of Kerala. Finally, we have the Sherdukpen. They do not belong to the state of Himachal Pradesh, but instead they belong to the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Since only one is right, the answer to this would be one only, which is nothing but A. Now let's look into the next practice question. With reference to tests, which of the following statements are correct? It is a NASA Astrophysics Explorer mission. It is designed to search for exoplanets using the transit method. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is both. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of TESS. What does TESS stands for? It stands for Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite. So what do we have? We have two terms here. One is transiting, the other is the exoplanet. What happens in this particular mission? This particular mission primarily aims at identifying the exoplanet. What is an exoplanet? It is a planet that orbits a star outside our solar system. So we have our solar system. So if there is a planet which is present outside our solar system, that is what is called as exoplanet. So identifying these exoplanet is one of the primary missions of this TESS mission undertaken by NASA. So how does it work? This has a principle called as transit photometry. What is this transit photometry? According to it, NASA will identify one of the primary stars. This star will be radiating a certain amount of energy. So what should NASA do? It has to identify if there is an exoplanet within this particular area. So how does it do it? As we discussed, every star will radiate some amount of energy. If there is an exoplanet passing through the transit means it passes in front of this star. So the minute it passes through in front of this star, what would happen? There is an apparent brightness which drops. Why? Because the exoplanet covers this area, and as a result the amount of energy radiating from this particular star will also drop. So once an exoplanet is not in the path of this star, there is a high brightness of the star, but the minute it enters one particular area, there is a dip in its radiation. The energy drops because there is an exoplanet passing in front of the star. So once it moves away from this particular transit, once again the brightness of the star increases. That is how exoplanet is found out. And once an exoplanet is found out, other ground based realities are taken into picture. There are mathematical calculations which happen. Ultimately they go ahead and decide if it is an exoplanet and not a false positive. So all this analysis will be taken into picture to find out what is called as an exoplanet using this transit photometry principle. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are mosquito-borne diseases? Chikungunya, cholera, dengue fever, yellow fever, Zika. The answer to this is 1, 3, 4 and 5 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of mosquito-borne diseases. When we look into the options, we have about 5 diseases. In this, cholera is not spread by the mosquito, but the other 4 are spread by the mosquito, which is why the answer to this would be 1, 3, 4, and 5. What are these mosquito-borne diseases? They are spread by the bite of an infected mosquitoes. Generally, diseases that are spread by these type of mosquito include Zika, West Nile fever, chikungunya, dengue, and malaria. This article therefore speaks about different types of vaccines that are in market, drugs that are in market, and how we can go ahead with the prevention of these mosquito-borne diseases. First, we have to identify where the mosquito breeding happens. Generally, they require warm, moist weather to flourish. So identify this area and accurately predict when the next outbreak or the flourishing of the mosquitoes take place, and immediately we have to ensure that all due precautionary measures are taken. Healthcare and mosquito control machinery will also have to be adapted in such a place, says this article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. It is a semi-xerophyte crop grown in tropical and subtropical conditions. It requires uniformly high temperature varying between 21 degree and 30 degree. It is a plant that needs a long frost-free period, a lot of heat and plenty of sunshine. It is semi-tolerant to salinity and sensitive to waterlogging and thus prefers well-drained soils. The above statement describes about sugarcane, coffee, tobacco, cotton. The answer to this is cotton. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article here makes a mention of cotton. When it comes to cotton, cotton is one of the important fiber crops in India. It is the most important commercial and cash crop in India and plays a significant role when it comes to industrial and agricultural activities in India. It thus provides all the raw material that is required for the cotton textile industry. Remember, cotton industry is one of the most important industries in India, which provides direct livelihood to as many as 6 million farmers. When you look at the options, yes, it is a semi-xerophyte crop grown in tropical and subtropical conditions. It requires high temperature varying between 21 to 30 degrees centigrade. It requires frost-free period, a lot of heat and plenty of sunshine, and at the same time it is semi-tolerant to salinity and sensitive to waterlogging and thus prefers well-drained soils. All these are important features for the growing conditions of a cotton. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section, is it a kharif crop or a rabi crop? Which are the 3 largest cotton producer countries in the world? Which are the 3 largest producing states in India? All this have to be put on the comment section. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements in respect of trade-related analysis of fauna and flora in commerce. Traffic is a bureau under United Nations Environment Program. The mission of traffic is to ensure that trade in wild plants and animals is not a threat to the conservation of nature. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this is 2 only. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2017. The trade related analysis of fauna and flora in commerce is one of the non-governmental organizations. What does it do? It ensures that when there is trade of wild plants and animals, this does not become detrimental to the sustainable development and biodiversity conservation. So if you look into the first statement, this is wrong because it was established in 1976. Its headquarters is in Cambridge and this happens to be a non-governmental organization. The second option is right. That is because the mission of traffic is to ensure that trade in wild plants and animals is not a threat to the conservation of nature. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Rani Kamalapati. Who was Rani Kamalapati? She was the Gond Queen. She happened to be the wife of ruler Nizam Shah, who was the chief of Ginorga. She had constructed a 7-story Kamalapati palace. Where is it? It is in the state of Madhya Pradesh. It is in Bhopal. This can be very important from the preliminary examination point of view. This happens to be a secular architecture. This was built back during the 18th century. It was built of Lakuri bricks, cusped arches over the crumpled pillars. The merlons are shaped as water lotuses, honoring the name of the queen and this is currently being designated as a monument of national importance by the Archaeological Survey of India. It is said that Nizam Shah, who was the husband of Gond Queen, was killed by his nephew, which is why she avenged her husband's death by killing Alam Shah, who happened to be Nizam Shah's nephew as well. Now, this article says Habibganj railway station will be named after Rani Kamalapati, who happens to be a 18th century Gond queen. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this article. So, this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.